Thank you very much, Comrade Mahlengi, our spokesperson. Ladies and gentlemen of the media, we want to apologize, but at the same time extend our heartfelt gratitude for you to making it to our press conferences. We don't take it for granted for responding to our request all the time to cover the statements that we make that are intended to communicate the decisions of the African National Congress. We have convened this press conference to take the nation into confidence against developments taking place in the country and as a way of closing the vacuum against false narrative that the country is rudderless. These falsehoods instill uncertainty and worry in society. The leadership role of the African National Congress is uncontested. We therefore reaffirm our ability to address problems confronting the country, and we call upon society to defend democracy and collectively explore solutions. The African National Congress, as the leader of society, the role we have earned over decades of struggle, and the custodian of the aspirations of the people, takes this opportunity to address critical issues facing our nation. We assure our people that the ANC will not stand idle while lawlessness, criminality, and opportunism undermine the sovereignty of our country and the well-being of our citizens. Recently, I think 2 days ago, this country, we had by-elections. The African National Congress expressed heartfelt gratitude to South Africans for electoral support in the December 4th by-elections across the country. This reaffirms the people's trust in the ANC as the custodian of their aspirations. From expanded access to essential services like water, electricity, and healthcare, to equity in opportunities and South Africa's respected standing in the global community, our 30-year transformation journey proves that South Africa today is a better place than we found it. This electoral outcome is a solemn mandate for the ANC to deliver, act, and lead decisively. We direct all ANC-led municipalities to act with urgency and discipline, ensuring the swift implementation of service delivery projects. Leaders must serve with humility, remain accessible, responsive, and transparent, particularly prioritizing the needs of women, youth, and people with disability, as they represent not just their offices, but the millions who entrust the ANC with hope for progress. The ANC will not tolerate underperformance, inefficiency, or corruption within its structures. Leaders who fail to meet their mandate must rise to the challenge or step aside. We expect all our deployees to be guided by revolutionary morality in discharging their public duty. When services are delayed or promises broken, it is the ANC as a whole that is held accountable. We call on all leaders to honor the trust placed in them and work tirelessly to restore dignity and hope to our communities. Out of 18 by-elections that took place, ANC won 14, which is overwhelming victory. And this has been happening in local government since 29th of May. We lost in Mtuba to Inkatha Freedom Party ward. In 29 May, in that ward, we got 217 votes. In this election, we got more than 938 votes, which means we're covering the lost ground even in KwaZulu-Natal. We snatched a DA ward in Namakwa Land in Northern Cape. And we say thank you, Siyabonga, to our people. In Tabazimbi, a municipality which we took action against those who were deployed by the African National Congress, and we took a decision to go to a by-election because we cannot be tolerant to wayward public representatives who are not accountable and think that they are law unto themselves, risking losing that municipality. And we are happy to come back. And then even though we did not win overwhelmingly, we won with the largest number of people. 15,000 people voted for the African National Congress out of 27,000 people that took to the polls. 15,000 people voted for the African National Congress. We got 10 seats in Tabazimbi, 10 seats that we got out of 12 seats. Others came in through PR, and we're still discussing with the IC the question of the PR numbers which are supposed to be allocated to the African National Congress. South Africa cannot afford complacency, and the ANC will not allow self-interest to undermine progress. The time to act is now. We reaffirm the ANC's commitment to South Africa's partnership with nations across the globe, particularly the African nations with whom we share common developmental objectives based on mutual growth and shared prosperity. In furtherance of this developmental vision, Nigeria is one of the countries with whom we share mutual interests and reciprocal growth. The relationship with Nigeria has strengthened trade, cultural exchange, and economic cooperation between the two countries. However, to all immigrants residing in South Africa, whether from Africa or elsewhere in the world, we are clear. You are welcome here only if you respect the laws of our country and contribute positively to our society. There are those who exploit South Africa's generosity and believe they can operate outside the law without consequences. We make it abundantly clear, South Africa is not a playground for lawlessness. As the President said, the relation of visa laws as they relate to Nigerians does not equal entry into the country without passport. And we are aware that there's been a distortion of what the President said. And it was said that President has said Nigerians can come to South Africa without passport or visa. That is a total distortion. It's a total distortion. It's not even a distortion, it's a lie that has been deliberately peddled to project this government as being not just insensitive, but lacking direction in relation to strengthening of the immigration policy for the country. Entry into the country without a passport, including necessary administration requirements. Anyone who undermines our legal system or compromises the safety and economic opportunities of South Africans will face the full might of the law. This includes immigrants who engage in criminal activities and South Africans who enable this criminality by illegally registering businesses or aiding criminal behavior, zamazamas, drug peddlers and drug laboratories, and illegal immigrants. Our patience has been overstretched. South Africa's hospitality must never be mistaken for weakness. Our communities cannot live in fear. The law must be enforced. The time is now. As an organization, we continue to make strides in reclaiming the Spaza shop sector as part of revitalizing township and rural economies. Many Spaza shop owners are registering in line with the President's call, ensuring that South Africans benefit from this important sector of our economy. Women, youth, and people with disabilities. The 500 million allocated to this initiative will impact thousands of lives, creating opportunities, economic growth, and jobs. The time has come to enforce compliance more rigorously. We must not falter in ensuring that the laws of the country are fully implemented. This includes ensuring that no illegal immigrants are allowed to operate at dark shops in our country. Those who are legally in the country, they must prove investment in the business of over 5 million as required by the law. We are pleased that as of last night, 51,788 Spaza shops have been registered, with 45% being KwaZulu-Natal. 800 Spaza shops have been closed to date, with 93% of these being foreign-owned. We call on the government to employ additional inspectors to monitor the sector and ensure that it serves its intended purpose, empowering South Africans and restoring economic dignity to our communities. The Spaza shops that are not compliant, as per the President's grace period, should cease operating or face the law. We cannot watch when our children die and the local economy suffer as a result of lawlessness. We will all recall that in our country, we took a decision that at some point that dealt with the issue of illegal immigrants in the space of Spaza shops. And there is a constitutional court judgment to this extent that those who have acquired asylum status in our country must be allowed to operate. As the African National Congress, we have mandated our government going forward as part of this campaign of the Spaza shops that we must preserve businesses like Spaza shops for locals, meaning only for South Africans. And government must explore in terms of the law of the country that this is implemented within a reasonable space of time. Spaza shops, small businesses, and all of that, we believe and we affirm that they must be preserved only for South Africans. We are aware, as we live in communities, that Spaza shop businesses have been affected, particularly by an influx of foreign nationals, who in majority have overtaken the locals because they've got unlimited supply of goods which are cheaper than the locals. Now we've got evidence that these goods that are cheaper, purported to be cheap, are not just cheap, but they are fake goods, and they are poisonous, and they have expired. From an intelligence point of view, we know that some, and in majority, have actually undermined the criminal activity in our country, have increased because they have supplied even the Tiki Lily phones, like that one of yours there, Tiki Lily phones, which have enabled criminals to surpass the police interception in many instances. And this has come from illegal foreign nationals. So the calls by our people that they must go, they must close down, are not far-fetched. They are based on empirical evidence on the ground. From an intelligence point of view, we know now that South Africans have also aided criminal activities of illegal foreign nationals and given them cover in the different communities. And we want to implore and call upon our communities that those among us who perpetuate illegal activities, they must not just be named and shamed, but they must face, they too, the power of the law in our country. In many areas in our country, RGP houses have been rented out to illegal foreign nationals. Anyone in South Africa, like we do when we go to other countries, we acquire the necessary documentation informed by the immigration laws of those countries. In this instance, we have emphasized to our government as this campaign intensifies and launched by the President in terms of the Spaza shops, which will be evaluated, that one, the illegal criminal activity must be wiped out. South Africans must work and we must work together to get rid of these illegal activities, and we must clamp down as we do right now, that those illegal Spaza shops, particularly by foreign nationals too, must close down, and those who are found must be deported with immediate effect. The people of South Africa must become the eyes and ears of government to act decisively in relation to this. Some among us in our communities have aided these illegal activities, including in government, by assisting these illegal foreigners to acquire legal status to operate in our country. We believe that Spaza shops and other small businesses must be preserved for South Africans going forward. We have implored in government to work on a policy, a regulation, and also the law of the country to ensure that this is implemented. On the matter of Comrade Thembis Melani, the ANC is guided by its principles of integrity and ethical leadership. While the Integrity Committee addresses this matter internally, state investigations are continuing independently. The ANC does not prejudge the outcome of these processes, but we remain resolute in our principle of stepping aside when charged, as a demonstration of accountability. The ANC respects the constitutional prerogative of the President when it comes to cabinet appointments. We, however, note the heavy strain and impact of this matter on the organizational brand and image, and the voices of civil society for her to step aside pending a full inquiry and other legal processes and independent bodies. We believe and trust in the ability of the independent bodies to discharge their mandate and responsibilities. At the present moment, the minister is not charged and has not been found guilty by any of the institutions, may it be Chapter 9 institutions like the Public Protector and so on. And there has not been any precedent before where a person who is not charged but implicated in one or two things while serving as a minister has been forced by the rule to step aside. Step aside apply when a decision by either of the law institutions have actually been taken. So we respect those particular processes. Should the outcome of those processes give us any recommendation which may be adverse on the comrade, necessary steps will be taken by the African National Congress. The release of Janus Walus. Today, the murderer of our leader, Janus Walus, will be released from prison, if not released already, taking with him to his homeland the truth of the assassination of our leader, Comrade Martin Tembisile Crisani. We are reminded of the immense loss inflicted on our movement and our nation. Janus Walus deprived South Africa of one of its greatest leaders, and his release without a full confession of his actions and conspiracies remains an injustice. The heavy blow that he inflicted on the nation is palpably fresh, considering its painful effect on Comrade Chris' children and his wife, Comrade Ausdimpo Hani. The assassination of Comrade Chris Hani was a well-orchestrated scheme designed to plunge the country into chaos, an attempt to subvert the course for a negotiated political settlement, thus deferring a dream for a democratic South Africa after many years of apartheid subjugation. This move was well calculated. Ironically, the brutal killing of Comrade Chris Hani, his selfless dedication to the struggle as a disciplined commissar of Umkhonto weSizwe, the People's Army, brought us the freedom and rights we enjoy today. This is a sad and painful moment for the Hani family, the ANC, the working class and the poor, and the South African Communist Party, for which he was the General Secretary. We, to the conscience, Janus Walus, we call on the conscience of Janus Walus to tell the whole truth about the forces that orchestrated this heinous act. We call for a comprehensive inquiry into the assassination of Comrade Chris Hani to expose the full scope of this crime and bring closure to his family, the ANC and the people of South Africa. South Africa is no home for assassins and murderers. Walus must leave the country now. Lastly, the so-called national shutdown, which was conducted on virtual discourse. We dismiss the so-called national shutdown as nothing more than a failed attempt to sow chaos. These opportunists have no plan for building South Africa, but only destruction. To our people, we say, reject these distractions and remain focused on rebuilding our communities and creating opportunities for all. The ANC remains resolute in defending South Africa's sovereignty, uplifting its people, and ensuring that our country is a home for all who respect its laws and contribute positively to its growth. We are here to lead, and we will not falter in this responsibility. We will not betray our values and principles, nor abandon our goal of a non-racial, non-sexist, democratic South Africa and a cause of a better life for all. Our democratically elected president, Comrade Cyril Matamela Ramaphosa, remain our president and will be defended. The people shall come, and the people have spoken. Ramaphosa is a product of a democratic process and leading the African National Congress. We know the attack on President Ramaphosa is the attack on our nation, is an attack on the African National Congress. We are not like any other country. We are a democratic country. Our people, in terms of their rights, even to differ with government, are enshrined in the Constitution. Those who seek to devour these principles in one way or the other are not democrats. They are anarchists. We have seen them before, and we are noting them now. And we equally call upon the state to be decisive. Not like before, when they cost this country millions of rands and affected the progress of building this fragile economy. It has happened before. More than 400 people died. More than 400 people died in this country. The law must take its course. Should any anarchist seek to devour the principles of a democratic process in South Africa. Thank you very much.